Imagine a life of flawless royal perfection, completely shattered by a single, terrifying truth. For decades, the public was fed a manicured story of harmony, but behind closed doors lay a whirlwind of unconventional demands so intense, palace staff reportedly fled the estate in absolute exhaustion. The tight web of legal silence is officially breaking, exposing a chaotic reality that goes far deeper than the headlines ever dared to show. If you think you know the real reason this royal illusion collapsed, wait until you see the dark international connections waiting at the very end of this story. A revelation that changes absolutely everything. We're diving deep into the secrets the palace tried desperately to bury. So if you love uncovering the truth behind the crown, hit that subscribe button and join our inner circle before the curtains close. To truly understand the chaos of this hidden world, one must look at the grueling reality of what it was actually like to survive inside it on a daily basis. Insiders say the environment wasn't just demanding, it was a psychological minefield where personal assistants were pushed to their absolute breaking points. The requirements were frequent, erratic, and deeply unconventional, turning the historic estate into a high-stress whirlwind. According to reports, the turnover rate for staff was unprecedented. Aides weren't just quitting, they were fleeing. Some employees reportedly walked out after lasting only a single morning, leaving their badges behind because the frantic, chaotic energy was simply too much to handle. Those who managed to stay compared the daily routine to an exhausting psychological ordeal, describing it as trying to manage 50 jealous rivals, all clamoring for attention at the exact same moment. But it wasn't just the overwhelming, fast-paced atmosphere that broke the staff. It was the bizarre, highly specific rituals that had to be executed perfectly every single day. Sources suggest that one of the most rigid, non-negotiable requirements involved a fresh cream cake. This specific pastry had to be meticulously prepared and delivered to the private quarters each and every afternoon without fail. The presentation had to be flawless, the timing precise, and the temperature exact. If the smallest detail deviated from expectations, if the cream was slightly off or the delivery was a minute late, the atmosphere in the palace would instantly shift. Aides were left to navigate intense emotional waves, walking on eggshells for the rest of the day. Yet, the impossible demands and the unpredictable outbursts were nothing compared to the deeply embarrassing secrets the staff was forced to cover up. Managing the erratic moods and the specific afternoon rituals was only half the battle. The real nightmare for these low-wage assistants was handling a luxury lifestyle built entirely on deception, empty promises, and mountain-high piles of unpaid debts. As the calls from angry creditors began flooding the palace phone lines, the staff discovered a mortifying secret about how those luxury bills were actually being settled, and the details would shock the entire household. The real nightmare wasn't just managing the chaotic moods inside the palace, it was running a multi-million-dollar luxury lifestyle built entirely on a foundation of deception. Insider accounts have exposed a deep-seated pattern of behavior that left personal assistants feeling utterly mortified on a regular basis. It is claimed that a reputation had been developed as a relentless seeker of free luxuries, flatly refusing to pay for things that ordinary people would spend a lifetime saving to afford. Wallets were rarely, if ever, pulled out. Instead, the expectation was to be showered with complimentary premium products or to have an entire lavish existence fully funded by wealthy acquaintances. This extreme entitlement extended far beyond minor gifts or free meals. High-end fashion houses were routinely targeted. Beautiful custom garments and expensive couture pieces were ordered under the pretense of borrowing them for high-profile public appearances. But once the clothes arrived behind palace walls, the designers were completely ghosted. Invoices went ignored, and the priceless items were never returned. But the exploitation didn't stop with high fashion. When travel was required, professional security firms weren't hired. Instead, social capital was used to pressure rich friends into lending out their private multi-million-dollar security details completely for free. This left low-wage aides with the deeply uncomfortable task of making excuses to angry business owners and shielding a prominent figure who acted as though the basic laws of commerce simply didn't apply. They were forced to build a wall of excuses to protect a crumbling illusion. But a lifestyle funded entirely on the generosity of wealthy friends is a ticking time bomb. When the stream of free luxuries finally began to dry up and creditors refused to back down, a turn was made toward a far more dangerous, intimate, and shocking source of funding, one that would tear the inner family circle apart. When the external funding sources dried up, the financial desperation inside the household reached a terrifying breaking point, leading to decisions that deeply shocked even the closest aides. Newly uncovered accounts reveal that a line was crossed that no one expected. It is claimed that a system was put in place to quietly exploit her own daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, just to keep the sinking financial ship afloat. Staff members reportedly watched in absolute disbelief as constant unauthorized draws were made on Beatrice's personal credit cards. These cards were allegedly used to cover daily household expenses and mounting luxury bills that should have been paid weeks ago. But the strain on the family was only the beginning of a much wider financial nightmare. The palace accounts frequently ran completely dry. This forced low-wage personal assistants to use their own personal credit cards to purchase everyday items for the residents. These regular employees were left waiting months to be reimbursed, holding breath over whether they would ever see their money again. As traditional banking options faded, the financial choices became increasingly bizarre. According to sources, one highly unusual arrangement involved a spiritual psychic advisor. When it came time to settle the bill for these mystical services, the advisor was reportedly compensated entirely in cartons of cigarettes because there was simply no cash left to give. To ensure these deeply embarrassing arrangements never saw the light of day, employees were forced to sign incredibly strict non-disclosure agreements. These legal contracts threatened the staff with total financial ruin if they ever uttered a word to the public or the press. Yet, this pattern of extreme desperation and hidden financial chaos wasn't a sudden development. It was actually the continuation of a decades-long history of public crises, and the next chapter would push the entire monarchy to the absolute edge. To fully comprehend the depth of this chaotic lifestyle, one must realize that this pattern of erratic behavior stretches back decades, marked by a series of public crises that repeatedly horrified the public and embarrassed the monarchy. The controversies began almost immediately after entering the royal spotlight. In 1988, a widely criticized decision was made to leave a newborn daughter, Princess Beatrice, behind in the care of staff when she was just 6 weeks old, all to accompany her husband on a lengthy overseas tour of Australia. The public backlash was intense, but it was nothing compared to the seismic scandal that shattered the marriage and royal standing just 4 years later. In 1992, just months after separating from her royal husband, photographs emerged from a private holiday that completely broke the internet of the 90s. Capturing a highly compromising position with a financial advisor, the images went viral across global media headlines, effectively banishing her from the inner royal circle for a generation. But banishment didn't stop the financial desperation from growing into something even more dangerous. Decades later, in 2010, that mounting desperation drove her into an even darker trap. An undercover sting operation by a British newspaper caught her on video offering access to her high-ranking ex-husband in exchange for £500,000 in cash. The footage sent shockwaves through the palace, exposing just how far she would go for funding. Yet, while these past humiliations were played out in front-page headlines, they pale in comparison to the dark alliances that are threatening her standing today. Because as bad as the cash for access sting was, a massive wave of newly uncovered information has just sent shockwaves through the palace walls, exposing a completely unexpected connection across the Atlantic that no one saw coming. A massive wave of newly updated investigative reports has sent absolute shockwaves through the palace walls, exposing a completely unexpected connection stretching straight across the Atlantic. Rumors indicate that Sarah allegedly maintained a highly secretive, years-long intimate relationship with the heavily disgraced American music mogul Sean Combs, also known as Diddy. This revelation comes at the worst possible moment, just after the music figure was handed a 50-month prison sentence in the United States following a highly publicized federal conviction. According to explosive insider sources, the two first crossed paths back in 2002 at a high-profile gathering in New York, which was reportedly organized by none other than Ghislaine Maxwell. What followed was a deeply hidden arrangement that allegedly spanned several years. The pair reportedly met up for illicit trysts at ultra-luxurious hotels across Europe and Africa, with some stays rumored to cost a staggering amount of money per night. Associates claim the American music figure was deeply obsessed with the prestige of the British royal family and frequently bragged to his inner circle about his connection to the household. But the details of this across-the-ocean alliance grow even more troubling. Allegations have surfaced, suggesting that young family members were introduced to this controversial social circle during this exact period, including a luxury yacht gathering when Princess Eugenie was only a teenager. Though representatives have fiercely denied these explosive claims as fabricated nonsense, the damage behind the scenes is already done. Palace officials are reportedly completely horrified as the details of this dark alliance continue to unravel under the public spotlight. The days of sprawling across a majestic 30-room estate are officially gone, replaced by a much darker, deeply isolated reality. The ultimate collapse of this royal illusion has finally forced a bitter return to ground zero. Stripped of official honors, military titles, and public status, the daily existence inside the family's inner circle has shrunk to an unbelievable low. Reports suggest that Andrew has officially relocated to a far more modest life at Marsh Farm on the Sandringham estate. The property is said to be heavily fortified, surrounded by extensive security upgrades designed specifically to keep an angry public at bay. Instead of an army of eager palace employees waiting on every single whim, life has been reduced to a minimal skeleton staff. The grand dinners and high society galas have completely vanished. His only consistent companions now are a few terriers and the remaining corgis that once belonged to the late Queen. It is a stark, lonely contrast to the glamorous world he once took for granted. But the crisis hitting the household runs even deeper than a forced relocation. Insiders say that Sarah faces an even more desperate situation, with rumors indicating she is effectively left without a permanent home of her own following the loss of their grand estate. Sources suggest she may soon be forced to swallow her pride completely, quietly moving into the modest Sandringham property just to maintain a basic shred of security and daily routine. This spectacular fall from grace serves as a chilling reminder to the entire world. No amount of past status, strategic legal silence, or high-level connections can forever hide the truth when the palace walls finally crumble. It leaves a haunting question hanging over the entire monarchy. Is this ultimate exile truly the final chapter of their public downfall, or are the darkest secrets of this household still waiting to be exposed to the world? If you made it this far, the truth is finally out, and the palace walls will never look the same again. This spectacular fall from grace proves that no amount of status or legal silence can hide what happens behind closed doors forever. What do you think is the most shocking revelation from this hidden household? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. Before you go, make sure to hit that like button if this deep dive kept you hooked, and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on. We have an even bigger, more explosive story dropping next day that you absolutely cannot afford to miss. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.